Hello and welcome to my new video. This is a topic very dear to my heart, which I will affectionately refer to as restriction site stunts. And hopefully it'll become very obvious very fast. So this is under the umbrella of starting out on a cloning project. Because when you are starting a new cloning, one of the questions is, of course, where is it going to be cloned? What's the vector that you have in mind? And, once you've cloned many genes, then you start developing favorites. You develop go-tos, and you're always thinking, okay, do you have a pre-cut stock of that vector? And in my case, because I've been doing this a while, the answer is almost invariably yes. But it also will be cut with my favorite enzymes in the whole wide world, which are BAMH1 and NOT1. Hey, I'm a creature of habit. What can I say? So, moving forward, is your new insert compatible with that? That is the $64,000 question, because your multiple cloning site, and this is a mock-up. Here it has my favorite enzymes, and it's all about the sticky ends. So here we have the indication of the staggered cutting done by BAMH1, which leaves basically CTAG protruding, and basically it's looking for a GATC. That's the important bit in its compatible fellow. And then conversely, NOT1, which one of its charms is it's an 8-base cutter, and this site is suitably unusual that it almost never, not never ever, but rarely crops up and is looking for a CCGG to mate up with it. That's the important bit. So, of course, yes, in a perfect universe, your insert has no BAM, no NOT. Yay, good for you. Roll right on ahead. But there is a pickle, of course, if this is not the case. Because if the site contains either BAM or NOT sites, then here's your flow, is that, no, splendid, go ahead and clone that gene, like I was just saying. But, okay, there is a site present. Usually it'll be a BAM-H1 site or BAM-H1 sites, plural. So what are you going to do? It's all about the compatibility. And yes, some of you are already knowing the answer to this one. Good for you. Go to the top of the class. Is that your first fallback is compatible sticky ends. So here we have a little family portrait of BAM-H1, and most of you will have heard of Bagel2 or BGL2. I like to call it Bagel because I love bagels, and it similarly, apart from having a different recognition sequence outside of the sticky ends, it has A instead of G, it still spits out a GATC overhang, so that will mate up deliciously with your BAM-H1 site. And BCL1 is the cousin who doesn't get talked about or invited to parties much, but it also can serve as your extra fallback, that if luck is not in your favor, because I swear Bagel2 crops up surprisingly often, but BCL1 is rarer, but even it isn't the never ever ever. But hey, let's not neglect NOT1, because after all, yes, there's your Bagel and BCL fallbacks, but NOT1, it even has a cousin that doesn't get invited to parties much. BSP120i, yeah, okay, they clearly were out of all the cool names, and it is triple G triple C, but once again creates a common overhang, so that will sort you right out if NOT1 is not having a good day. But also, I will give an honorary aside mention, even though they're not my favorites, that ZO1 and SAL1, enzymes that you'll have almost invariably heard of, they are cross-compatible. So if you're looking for ZO, SAL's your fallback, vice versa. Yes, you can be struck by lightning and lose both, but so, okay, in the scenario where you don't know what to do because you've got BAM, Bagel, and BCL in your insert, what are you going to do? The answer is, well, quick side note, what's the catch of doing these compatibles is that first you have to remember in your cloning workflow, don't use your usual enzyme or you'll blow your insert to bits. Sounds like a small detail, and trust me, it is, but it's a detail that can bite you in the behind if you're under-caffeinated or busy, or both. But also, sub-cloning is off the menu, which, yes, for most people is not a big deal, but for someone who loves to hop inserts and reuse inserts, that's a bit of a kick in the head. But it's not all bad, because you can still keep the pre-cut insert, and if someone says, hey, I want it in a different vector, so long as the compatibility is the same, hey, that pre-cut PCR product is your friend. Now, on to the salvation that will, trust me, save your bacon once you let it, and that is type 2S restriction enzymes, which are the ones, yes, maybe less familiar or definitely less famous, but are crazy, crazy handy. And I pulled this list just off the Thermo Scientific website because I like thermo. That's just me, creature of habit, like I say. But what is so special about these type 2S enzymes? The answer is that I'm taking Echo 31I as an example, which is a cousin of Echo R1, but not. They're non-palindromic. This is important. So here we have GGT-CTC. Ain't no palindromes a go-go. But what it does is it recognizes these 6 bases. However, regardless of what base is down here, and I put it N for illustration purposes, it will literally just cut in a staggered fashion, blindfold, staggered from its original cut side. And this is where it's going to help you. Because yes, you're already probably thinking, hey, what if, oh, I don't know, there was a BAM site there? Then yes, here's at the end of your PCR product, you have an Echo 31I site. And then when you hit the enzyme in here, it runs on over and promptly cleaves in a BAM H1 style. So yeah, your primer anatomy will look like this, that your yellow is for your type 2S site, and then blue is the site you're creating as a fake. As a result, you have something that will indistinguishably impersonate the cut ends that you're desiring. So trust me when I say this has saved my bacon more times than I care to count, and it always brings a smile to my face being able to do this kind of stunt. And hey, as ever, I've been leaning into BAM and neglecting not. But yeah, so here's the cut. Sorry, forgot to say that. There's your pretend sticky ends, which will lovingly mate up with your insert. But here also, yeah, not just the 5', here's our not one site and its friend BSP. But, once again, Echo 31I. But this time it's firing backwards and heading towards, I know it's a BSP 120i site. Point is, not one being an 8-base cutter, it collides with the non-palindromic sequence. So what are you going to do? You're going to fake, since you're already faking, fake a BSP 120 site. And then, as a result, yes, when you turn on your detect BSP 120i, yep, it's lighting up, winning. You cut, you ligate, victory dance. But now here's some extra credit material that I can't resist in sharing, and it's what I affectionately call the ejector seat. And yes, for those of you who do CRISPR, this will seem achingly familiar. This purple chap is the backbone of a guide RNA for carrying out a CRISPR project. And way on over here is a U6 promoter that basically says, hello, starting here, make mRNA. And then it reads whatever's here and then starts into the guide RNA backbone. Great. How are you going to introduce your 20 nucleotides of magic into this construct? Because after all, CACC, that ain't no overhang I ever heard of. And same answer for GTTT. So, but with having 2 type 2S sites firing outwards, then here's where it becomes an ejector seat. Boop! You trigger the enzyme, all of a sudden, that little innocent chunk gets blasted out, and then when you PCR clean, it's gone because it's so tiny. Out it goes. And these sticky ends are suddenly desperately needing someone to hold them closely at night. So in comes your 20 nucleotide guide RNA sequence, which you produce using annealing oligos, which is a lesson for another time. But I just wanted to run over this example just because it's such fun that as a result, you basically do invisible mending using the ejector seat. You lovingly ligate in this region. All of a sudden, the resultant section is 20 nucleotides to recognize your target, and then here's the backbone that triggers Cas9. Beautiful. And no surprises, let's circle around to the sponsor. If you enjoy my videos, find they've changed your life or not, or if you just simply are that generous, you can choose to buy me a coffee here at this address. And otherwise, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.